Hey, Fanboy Nation.
This is your pal Daffy Duck, and you're watching.
We're watching
You're watching Fanboy.
Fanboy,
fanboy, etc.
Fanboy Nation.
God, I assume Tom.
I have the pleasure of speaking with Nicole Kang, who I was first introduced as Mary Hamilton on the series Batwoman, a fantastic show tying everything into the DC universe. Although Ruby Rose is out as Batwoman, we're excited that you're coming back for season 2, so congratulations for that.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I'm really excited to be here. And I'm looking forward to another season of Batwoman.
Well, I think you guys are filming in Canada, right? Or are you filming in Atlanta?
We do film in Vancouver, Canada.
So perfect. It's cold enough. It gives Gotham that gritty look. Same thing with Arrow, so it works perfectly across the board.
Yeah, I agree.
In the series, or in the film we're talking about today, The Social Ones, you play Jane Zap, who is kind of the crazy cat lady in all of this.
Yeah, you could say that. Or she just has a ton of pet fashion models.
I would refer to this, and you were probably like 2 years old when it came out, but like this generation's version of Waiting for Guffman.
Oh yeah, that's really interesting. Yeah, I can see that. I mean, I definitely, it is this sort of, what's great about it is this social commentary that we made in the moment that felt so bottle rocketed almost, but it applies. And since that moment, which was pretty recently that we filmed, edited, created, and this movie was produced, TikTok came about, and it'll be really interesting to see how it ages and how it truly captures the age of social media as we know it today in this moment presently.
It's funny the way it is, because Richard Kine's character comes in as the architect of all of this, and if it's not for him, no one gets anywhere. And people were making fun of your character for only having 10 million followers or some ridiculously quote unquote low number for what it was. But it really is a commentary on what's going on. I mean, the description says it's a love letter, but it's also kind of like a middle finger to all the social media aspect that's going on. Not like, the influencers themselves, but like the addiction to social media.
Yeah, I mean, it is comedy, and it is sort of this response and commentary, but I think the love letter is in the way that these characters, go through this, albeit ridiculous, but arc and heartfelt, discovery by the end. And it's just this a hilarious journey of characters who really live and die on that sword, on that social media sword. And it is as much a part of their identity as their own names. We are humans, not handles. And I think, it's definitely sarcastic, but I do find it, almost heartwarming, because, even the couple, the Instagram couple, I sort of think to myself, I've seen that, I've heard that fight before, or, that's not so far off from something I've heard. There are moments in there woven in that are pretty close to the reality. And I think Stephanie March threads the needle sort of so beautifully as her own commentary on sort of the mental health and mental well-being of these real people.
Right. Well, you brought up Stephanie, and not to go past the first act, so we don't give any major spoilers, but your first session with her in the psychologist's office was absolutely hysterical. I mean, I had to pause the movie because I was laughing so hard. I did not expect it to be that funny of a scene.
Oh my gosh. Yes. Well, I definitely have to give it to, that was my first day of shooting. So
Really?
Those therapy scenes, yeah. I actually did all of my scenes with Stephanie. on my first day of shooting, and then I did all of the group scenes at a later date. So that was really amazing because I stepped onto set in this incredible set, and Stephanie was there, so professional. The girls were so friendly, and the set was warm. Everyone was laughing. We'd say cut, and everyone would burst into, laughter. There was immediate feedback. So in a way, it felt like this small theatrical performance. But Stephanie's ability to throw a look or play the straight man is incredible. And I just had so much fun pushing the boundaries as much as I could. We had a real litter of kittens that then our sort of sound guy adopted, which was really exciting. But I mean, we would say action and they'd immediately start crawling out of the box and going everywhere. And there were people in a circle around the frame, sort of there to collect them. And it really felt like this wild take. And I felt a freedom in that. I was like, if these animals are going to be roaming about anyway, why behave like they're not here? And I then asked for sort of a lollipop, and I mean, just whatever made us laugh. We started really crafting who Jane was, and the idea that this was her week to week appearance at her therapist's office. I mean, it's such a playground.
Well, like the evolution of your character, like I knew you could be funny.
Yeah.
I just didn't expect you to be that over the top funny. So congratulations on that, because like you were funny, but you also made me sit there and go, man, is that acting or is Nicole really descending into this character? Like, is that a small part of her?
Oh yeah. That's really funny. Well, that's the goal. That should always be the question, because that's a question I ask. I mean, definitely when I play these characters, I always examine my own behavior, on social media. But really, it was just so much fun to crack that nut and feel like I really had a hold of who she was, from the tip of my to the top of my head. I definitely found a way into her that I think I had from sort of the beginning, and Laura and Danielle really recognized that and asked me a lot of questions about my thoughts. And because these characters in a way were sort of written as like an overarching sort of persona, right? He's the meme god, she loves animals, she's the cook. But what these incredible actors did is fill them up with so much humanity and specificity that I think is why the movie works. Because if there's no one real in there that you sort of are like, oh, I know this chick, then it's sort of just all ridiculous. But I think what takes this movie to the next level is that, like, Jane Zap is, not so far off from a bunch of people and things that I've seen and collected to bring that all in my performance.
Performing as this character and having your own social media presence, how did it make you reevaluate your social media behavior? And what aspects of that did you twist after reading the script and even after filming the movie?
That's a really, really good question. And definitely I've seen over the last couple years sort of my own social media following grow, which has been, such an honor to have sort of that, see my own platform grow. I think, not necessarily did I change anything, but I think one thing that I focus on every time I post, every time I speak, in my stories, I try and engage with the people who are following me as much as possible and try and get to know them as much as I can. I answer as many questions as I can, but bottom line, being genuine speaking directly, speaking truthfully, and speaking mindfully is of great importance to me.
Right. I'm going to leave you with two more questions. You know, with you
Sure.
being in the public eye, you know, people always want to ask you personal questions or think that they know you to some extent. And social media kind of brings them closer, but it's still a disconnect from, you know, from the fans in a sense, because you still have your private life. How do you disconnect
Right.
after Batwoman, you know, the season ends, after the social ones, the filming ends, and then you just want to unplug? What does Nicole do to unplug?
Oh my goodness. You know, sometimes you're giving and sometimes you're receiving. And so in my downtime and anytime I have, I try and receive. I try and read, I try and watch, I try and, you know, express in other ways in art. I explore with all kinds of mediums. I explore through dance, through movement, through paint, you know, through collecting records. I love Patsy Cline, so I collect, you know, Patsy Cline records. Through, I think everything you do in life is art. So I think I just, in my downtime, I really refine sort of the things I like and the things that inspire me, and I look to fill myself up with so much inspiration that by the time I have another job or another chance or another opportunity to be able to you know, get inside a character, I'm all full of inspiration as opposed to sort of empty of my own characters or anything that I've done in the past. You know, I'm always looking forward, and I'm always, yeah, I'm constantly inspired. You don't have to look far.
I dig it. Your bio on IMDb said that you used to figure skate, so I don't know if you still do that or not, at least for recreation.
Yeah. Yes, I do figure skate lightly. I was on the Samantha Bee show with Adam Rippon for her Christmas special because, you know, there's a coach in New York who asked me to join them. So that was super fun to be able to get to put my skates on again. And I actually got to play with Alan Cumming and Boyana and on Instinct on CBS, and I was in a figure skating episode, and that was just such a joy to be able to combine two of my old loves, one of my past and one of my current. So yeah, that's sort of the extent of that. I just do it recreationally, but I absolutely love it.
Fantastic. Nicole Kang, thank you so much for your time. Batwoman Returns 2021 in January with the rest of the DC TV universe on the CW. The Social Ones, I believe, is out now on VOD, so we got to check that one out. And where can we find you on social media to tie this all back together?
You can find me at Nicole Kang on Instagram and Twitter.
And Nicole does not have an H for people that want to know.
Oh yeah, NicoleKang.
Thank you so much, Nicole. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you. You too.
Bye-bye.
Bye.